Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to cut through the noise and get you really well informed, focusing on one topic at a time. Today, our mission is pretty specific. We're going to do an intense analysis, a real deep dive into just one song, YNG Martyr's B-U-R. And yeah, that's Burr, pronounced just like, Aaron Burr. We want to go beyond just hearing it. We're looking for every hidden layer, every surprising detail, and really the core themes baked into those lyrics. Okay, so for this dive, we've got two main sources lined up. First, there's this raw, kind of unedited YouTube visualizer transcript, gives you that direct, unfiltered feel. And second, we have a more structured, more polished lyrics breakdown from Genius. And the contrast between them, it's actually pretty interesting. It's like having, the rough sketch and then the detailed painting right next to it. It lets us analyze not just what he's saying, but maybe the intent behind it, the whole world he's trying to build.
Exactly. And this isn't just, about understanding the words on a page. It's about dissecting this rich tapestry of themes. We'll be digging into everything from like the really obvious wealth displays and the kind of harsh street life stuff to these moments of, personal struggle and even some really surprising contradictions in there. So by the time we're done, you should have a really fast but also thorough, kind of nuanced grasp of what makes BR work, why it's more than just catchy lines.
All right, let's unpack it then. I guess we have to start with the core sound, right? That burr itself, it's everywhere in the song. It's definitely more than just a sound effect, isn't it? What's going on there? What are the layers?
Yeah, it's fascinating, actually. Burr works on, multiple levels here. On the surface, it's the sound. Shivering, cold. Pretty literal. But almost instantly, that coldness gets tied up with opulence, luxury. Think about the line, I think my wrist got pneumonia. That immediately links Burr to ice.
Yeah.
Expensive jewelry.
Oh, right. Like the diamonds are so cold they make you shiver.
Precisely. It's not just cold, it's like an excess of coldness from the sheer amount of jewelry. It's wealth so extreme, it's almost like physical.
Okay, so it's cold as this sort of lavish, almost overwhelming statement. Got it. What else does Burr link up with in the lyrics?
Well, it quickly reinforces this high-end lifestyle idea with the line, Burberry slip, not a loafer.
Burberry, okay, the luxury brand.
Exactly. And specifying a slip, not a loafer, is key too. A slip suggests something maybe more refined, higher end, like a designer slipper or dress shoe, not just a casual loafer. So Burr becomes this shorthand, not just for ice, but for this very specific high-status fashion sense. It's the whole package. And just for context, Genius notes the song came out November 26th, 2024, so pretty recent.
Okay, so beyond that core sound, the pre-chorus seems to be where YNG Martyr really starts sketching out his persona. Some of those lines about relationships and identity, they're pretty striking. What jumps out at you first about the character he's building there?
Oh, the pre-chorus is dense. It's packed with provocative stuff. Take my new bitch on the spectrum. I love how she obsessive. So he's portraying his partner with, specific neurodivergent traits, but then he frames that obsessiveness as something desirable to him.
That's unusual.
It's definitely a unique, maybe unsettling take on a relationship. It suggests he wants this really intense, all-in devotion, maybe even because it comes from that place.
And then there's that wordplay that really seems designed to grab your attention, the redrum line.
Yeah, way about that redrum, you'd think I was dyslexic.
Yeah.
I mean, that's straight out of The Shining. It instantly sets a kind of menacing, dangerous tone.
Right, without him having to explicitly say anything violent.
Exactly. And the twist with dyslexic flipping murder backwards, it adds this layer of dark humor, maybe even a kind of cunning. It feels calculated, almost theatrical, a way to establish this formidable, maybe slightly unhinged presence.
And it gets even more complex, maybe more controversial right after that.
It does. My girl like a handgun, she pop out with extensions. That word extensions, it's loaded.
How so? Like hair extensions?
Could be. That fits an image of glamour, right?
Yeah.
But right after saying handgun.
That makes you think of gun attachments. Extended clips.
Exactly. That ambiguity is the point, I think. It paints his partner as both, desirable, but also potentially lethal. Adds to this image of being deep in a high-stakes, volatile world.
But then almost in the next breath, he says something that seems to completely clash with all that. This is where it gets really interesting for me.
This is where the persona crafting gets really clever, or maybe just confusing. The line, got multicolored hose in this bitch, I'm so progressive.
Yeah, that one stands out. After all the gritty, violent, objectifying language, calling yourself progressive.
It's a stark contrast, isn't it? It feels deliberate, using derogatory language for women while simultaneously claiming to be progressive. It forces you, the listener, to kind of grapple with it. Is he genuinely juggling conflicting values? Or is it, like, a calculated move?
Trying to appeal to different crowds, maybe. Street cred and modern sensibilities.
Possibly. Or maybe just highlighting the contradictions. It makes you question the gap between what someone says they are and how they actually present themselves or act. It's provocative, for sure. Maybe shows a sophisticated understanding of image, or maybe just a disregard for consistency.
So, okay, let's take that complexity into the verses. What does this all mean for the world he's painting? It gets even more detailed there, right? Mixing street life, ambition, and these weirdly specific insights.
Yeah. Verse 1 keeps building this intricate picture. He kicks it off by hammering that wealth theme again, bringing back the chorus line, money sick, make it throw up.
That's such a visceral image. Like, too much money. It's almost disgusting.
Right. Overflowing abundance. But then he dives straight into these really provocative comparisons about women.
You mean the lines, my girl is a cunt, yeah, but only because she's serving, versus, your girl's a cunt. No, like, actually on purpose. I mean, that's incredibly blunt. What's he even trying to say there?
It's definitely inflammatory. He's drawing this really specific and, yeah, controversial line. One woman gets the label, but it's kind of justified, in his view, because she's serving.
Meaning, like, helping him out. Useful to him.
Seems like it. Contributing to his success, his lifestyle, whatever. She has a function, a utility. The other woman, though, is just dismissed as being that way on purpose. Like inherent malice, or maybe just being useless to him.
Wow. So it's a really transactional view of people.
It highlights that, yeah, a utilitarian way of valuing relationships in his world. Worth seems tied to contribution, to purpose. It's pretty brutal.
And he doesn't shy away from graphic descriptions either. The Chun-Li line.
Very explicit. My girl built like Chun-Li. Her body's perfect. Referencing Chun-Li, the strong video game character, it implies this powerful, almost idealized physique.
Performative is a good word for it.
Yeah. And then he follows it immediately with, them titties like my drug habits, bro, they way too perky. It's attention-grabbing, super graphic, and it ties her physical attributes directly to, like, addiction or obsession. Everything around him is intense, compelling, maybe consuming. It's appreciation, but filtered through this really hedonistic, intense lens.
Okay, but amidst all this tough talk, the wealth, the graphic stuff, there's that line that hints at something else. A struggle, maybe.
That's a really crucial point, actually. It adds a lot of depth. The line, 30-something popped in it, hurts what I'm talking, and it hurt if they walked in these shoes.
What do you make of the hurts part? Like the rental company?
Could be a passing reference to something transient? Maybe. But the core meaning feels like it's in the pain. It hurt if they walked in these shoes. It's this moment of acknowledging the difficulty, the sacrifice, the danger, the grind behind the flashy lifestyle.
So it's not just easy money.
Right. It suggests the profit mentality isn't just pure gain. It's hard-won, maybe painful. It's a crack in the facade, a hint of vulnerability you don't always get in this genre. It's key.
And speaking of profit, he then switches gears again, weaving in all this financial jargon. It feels like a different kind of street knowledge.
It totally does. Ain't it obvious?
Yeah.
They've been preaching profit. They've been cutting losses. She thought I worked in stocks because I told her I got options.
Yeah.
This bit shows this surprising level of, like, business savvy. Financial literacy mixed right into the street narrative.
It's not just about stacking cash, it's about strategy.
Exactly. Understanding financial strategies, managing risk, cutting losses, having choices, options. It's not just clever wordplay on options. It paints this picture of a new kind of street smarts, one that blends the hustle with, like, Wall Street terms. It kind of subverts expectations, showing a more multidimensional path to success.
Okay, so let's link that to verse 2. Because that's where things get even more unexpected, right? Themes of spirituality pop up, higher stakes. It adds this whole other dimension.
It really does, right in the middle of all the materialism and grit. Verse 2 opens with these surprising spiritual notes. We ain't there yet, so we threw them prayer hands up. And know we blessed, only giving thanks to above.
That feels like a real contrast to the rest of it.
It is. It expresses genuine gratitude, maybe a reliance on a higher power, which clashes, with the self-reliant, aggressive persona elsewhere. It suggests maybe a recognition that success, even his kind of success, involves some kind of blessing or guidance. Adds a layer of humility, maybe, or at least acknowledgement. Complicates the boasting.
But the language stays pretty raw, doesn't it? Even when talking about prayers being answered. It's an interesting mix.
Yeah, the bluntness doesn't go away. We get answered. It's like your fucking bitch when I called.
Okay, yeah. Still crude.
Still crude. but he's using it to describe how effective the prayers are, how immediate the response is. It kind of equates that divine response with this raw, impatient desire for instant results, ties the sacred to the same unvarnished reality as his street life. For him, the spiritual is just as direct and unadorned.
And the stakes seem to get even higher in this verse. Like, it's not just about money anymore.
Definitely feels that way. Bro, I'm balling. It's game time. Soul's getting split, bitch. I'm out here trying to save mine.
Soul's getting split? That's intense.
Super intense. It suggests this huge, high-stakes struggle. Maybe life or death. Maybe spiritual. Like, beyond the money, there's this deeper fight for his very essence, his survival, his salvation. It turns the hustle from just economic to something like existential. Adds real weight to what he's doing.
Then we swing back again to luxury, but still tied up with vices, most seamlessly.
She's rolling a blunt in the whip. Guess it's Wraith time.
Wraith time.
That's obviously the Rolls-Royce Wraith. Peak luxury car.
Right.
So the line just effortlessly connects that super high-end car with drug use. Paints this picture of indulgence, maybe it's Sikhism, where luxury and vice just go hand in hand, almost celebrated together.
And the verse wraps up with a line about dealing with opposition, asserting dominance.
Seems like it. These squares getting put up into the place like a FaceTime. Sounds like confronting people who aren't part of his world. The conventional types, the squares.
What about the FaceTime part?
Interesting analogy, right? Could mean like a quick, direct, maybe confrontational digital interaction, putting someone in their place instantly, remotely. Or just literally putting them in their designated inferior spot. It's about asserting control over his environment, dealing decisively with anyone who challenges him, using modern tech language to show immediate power.
Okay, before we wrap up, let's just quickly touch on who made this track. It's always interesting to see the collaboration behind something this layered.
Yeah, definitely important to credit the team. Genius lists the artist, obviously YNG Martyr, and tags him with Australia, which gives us that location. The production is credited to Prod Ure and RWY Co., and it specifically notes RWY Ure is from Melbourne.
So multiple producers.
Right. And writers too. YNG, Martyr, and Prod Ure are listed as writers. Then you have Junkie as the mastering engineer, REYKO. Also handled the mixing.
Yeah.
And someone called 44 Dash did the video animator work for that visualizer we mentioned.
And genre-wise.
Genius tags it as rap, trap, and super trap. So yeah, it takes a village, so to speak, to put together a track and its whole presentation like this.
Okay, so let's recap that.
I will.
We've kind of journeyed through YNG Martyr's BUR. We've seen how it weaves together this really vivid imagery, luxury, street life realities, those surprising spiritual moments, even that sharp financial talk. It paints this complex, multi-layered picture of ambition, struggle, and a really unique sort of personal philosophy. Hopefully you now have a much deeper sense of what's going on in the song beyond just a first listen.
Yeah, and Burr really leaves you with this fascinating tension, doesn't it? On one side, you have the really overt materialism, the dangerous imagery, the raw language, but then woven through it are these moments of like gratitude, financial smarts, even that struggle for self-preservation, saving his soul. It makes you wonder, in a world that's so much about performance and persona, especially in music, how do artists like YNG Martyr actually reconcile these things that seem so contradictory? And what does that contradiction tell us about the realities they're living in, or maybe the ones they aspire to? It definitely leaves you with something to think about regarding artistic narratives and maybe the truths underneath.
Absolutely. A great question to reflect on. Maybe give Burr another listen with all this in mind. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.